Yeah, hi everyone. Happy to be here. And my name is Anna Alex, and I'm the founder of Planetly. And we've actually prepared something special today. So I will first talk a little bit about Planetly and what we're doing, and then we switch this whole broadcasting format to an interview format, and I will have Emily from The Economist here with me live in person, not remote, on stage doing an interview. So this is special. Before I start, let me do some very quick market research. Who of you have ever heard of Planetly? Okay, cool. Okay, nice. So let me jump right in. As I said, I'm Anna Alex, founder of Planetly. Planetly already is my second business. Before that, I founded another business helping men dressing who don't like to go shopping with outfittery. Different impact. We dressed 1 million men, but this is a different story. And now I'm off to the climate tech world, and I'm very happy about that. So I probably don't need to tell you that sustainability is going to change everything. And I just, when I was looking around into the room, I was like, okay, so how is the mood in the room? Because I think everyone here in this room has all good reasons to be extremely excited about being here, because it is just the beginning of a massive transformation that we're looking at. We're going through a massive sustainability transformation, and it will touch every business, it will touch the whole economy, and it will touch the whole economy globally. And I think there are quite some parallels that you can draw to the digital transformation. So this touched every business as well. And in the digital transformation, you saw as well that the companies who were moving fast, who were seeing this coming early, they had a huge benefit of this afterwards. And this is the same now for sustainability. So over the next years to come, there will be millions of companies starting to measure and reduce their carbon footprint. And this is very much driven, I don't need to tell you, by the regulations out there. This is very much driven by, as well, the investors, by the suppliers, and by the consumers. And we heard this before as well, I think, from Coca-Cola. This is very much as well driven by the talent out there, because they are looking for sustainable employers, and they're very well choosing who to work with and work for in future. But let's be honest, so far, the carbon management required a lot of effort and was kind of a pain to do that, to at all gain transparency about your emissions. So even large corporations did all their carbon management in Excel sheets. I couldn't believe that when I learned that. So we cannot leave this massive calculations to Excel sheets, I guess. And it was actually not very insightful. It was always looking backwards to the years that were already. It requires a lot as well internally in the companies. And when I found all of this, I decided we need to change that. And this is why we founded Planetly, with a mission to make climate action easy for companies and do that in the best and most simple and most automated way possible. So about Planetly in a nutshell, we're 2 years old as a company now, but already have 100 great people on the team, extremely talented people with science, technology, and marketeers. We're working with 150 customers already, among them quite, as I call them, carbon heroes, among them the economists, and as well some others like HelloFresh, BMW, and some others. And we're well funded with 7 million, so we will be around for some time. And we are very happy to be certified, but I'm coming to that in a second. So what does Planetly do? We actually see ourselves as the one-stop shop for the whole carbon management. So what we do is we analyze your emissions, we help you report these emissions in all different formats and reporting standards, and then as well we are at your side while reducing these emissions and as well offset what cannot be reduced. So give me a few more minutes to dive a little deeper into that, and then we're switching to the internet format. because I'm actually extremely proud of what we've built here. So what we do is we do really like the automating the whole carbon accounting. We do this by integrating data sources that are already there in the companies. And by this, we're providing a holistic view on your emissions. You see this on the screenshot here, so that is how it can look like. And we are as well like giving you customized tools and solutions to then reduce your carbon footprint. We offer you curated offsetting solutions and as well enable companies to do the whole ESG reporting. So not only the E, but as well the S and the G. So jumping a little bit more into that, what does it mean? And what are actually the highlights of the software that we've built that we call the Climate Impact Manager? So one of the most important things is the full customization. So companies get the software completely tailored and customized to yourself. How many locations do you have? How are your business units? Who is responsible for what? And this is, we have a large entity model, which is especially valuable for large and multinational organizations. We have different access rights in this, so not everyone can see all the data, because of course we need a lot of very sensitive data as well to do the carbon accounting right. We have a very efficient data collection. This is what we focused on a lot while building our software, and we were able to reduce the effort in the data collection by 40% versus how it has been done before. We're doing this with a lot of data integrations as well, and a lot of like automation wherever it's possible. So we work with exports, for example, from the ERP systems of the companies. We integrate other data sources, let it be like the ERP system, the travel management systems, all these things. And this really enables us to get a very holistic view on all the scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions, and the most important emissions of the company. And then we provide the decision makers in the companies with a very detailed view on their emissions, on your profile. So you get a dashboard like this one, like the one you can see here, where you can really drill in and see which supplier is it, which reason is it, which business unit is it that needs to reduce, that has the highest share. And by this, really giving the business leaders out there the tools to take the right climate action. Not just to do something and feel great and be on stage and talk about it, but to really do the things and change the thing that matters most. And I think, like, I talked to Joschka Fischer the other day, and he had a great point. He said, like, all of us here, we are in the business world. We are business leaders. And what we can do, in opposite to the politicians, we are used to looking at abstract numbers and then act accordingly. The politicians are rather like based on experience, and then they made some experience here and there, and then they adopted there, and so on and so forth. But we are really used to look at dashboards like this and see and understand the numbers, and then really change our behavior and take action based on such abstract numbers. I think that was a great point. And as I said, I'm super proud like that all of the things that we're doing are as well like externally validated, that we're using a very, very solid and leading methodology in that. So we are a partner of the Carbon Disclosure Project. We're completely compliant with the GHG protocol standard. And just 2 weeks ago, we received the note from TÜV that our whole methodology is TÜV certified. And there are 150 climate leaders out there who already trust us, which makes me extremely proud. And one of them is The Economist. And before switching to the interview, let me briefly guide you through what we did together with The Economist. So we enabled The Economist group to get a detailed view on their emissions, including giving transparency on the most intensive emission parts, so which is like which reasons, which business units, which activities, along all scopes, scope 1, 2, and 3, including the building, the employees, the productions, and the logistics. We supported them them in doing their SBTI, so their science-based targets submission and setting these targets. And now the reduction targets will be monitored in our climate impact manager. And yeah, so we will be around today for some time. Me and my colleague Mark over there, stand up so everyone can see you. Hi, good, okay, great. And now let us switch to the interview format and welcome Emily Jackson on the, Emily Jackson-Kessler. So our SVP Sustainability and Head of Germany and Austria at the Economist Group. Hi, Emily.
Lovely to meet you.
Good, I think we can sit down here. Okay, Emily, thanks so much for joining us today in Frankfurt. I'm extremely excited about this, not just because we're meeting for the first time in person,
Right.
but because I'm a huge Economist fangirl and always have been. And the Economist, for me, is really a carbon hero because you are like weaving sustainability into the fabric of your growth. And you really want to go the extra mile and go one step further to really understand your carbon footprint and how you can reduce it in depth. Could you share with us a little bit like how this whole process started at The Economist? So who was pushing it internally, and how did it then unfold from there?
Right. Well, it's lovely to meet you for the first time. I might start with when the process actually started, and that was in 1989. Unfortunately, it didn't take us 30 years to calculate our carbon footprint, but it was the year that The Economist ran its first cover on climate. And that was when James Hansen, the NASA scientist, testified in front of the United States Congress that the hot summer of 1988 was largely down to the effects of climate change. And since then, The Economist has been very vocal on the climate issue, has been pressing for progress in policy. But the turning point was our September 19th edition in 2019, the climate issue. And that was really the starting point for our environmental sustainability strategy. And that issue set out to cover, the impact of climate on human society. It's not just a weather issue. It's an economic issue. It's a political issue. It's a human rights issue. And that particular edition fed climate or covered climate in all of the sections of The Economist. And our editor-in-chief, Danny Minton-Beddoes, at that time asked us then to conduct our first greenhouse gas inventory so that we could really understand the impact that The Economist was having on the environment.
Very cool, very cool. And we at Planetly were extremely excited when we got in touch with you last year. And back then, you already calculated your carbon footprint with the help of a consultant with an Excel sheet. So
Not just one.
Can you remember what you especially liked back then about our value proposition that we had at Planetly versus the consultancy, and what made you switch basically to a tool-based approach?
Right. So, I remember the conversation very well, and we just conducted our second greenhouse gas inventory, and I think there were three things that were in my head when I was talking to you. One was, how can we simplify the process? The GHG inventory is highly repetitive. You're completing the same Excel sheets year on year. And for me, I felt when there's a large room for errors, manual data entry. We're not integrating the data that we already have in our system. So that was point number one. The second is reducing the workload. So we work under pressure at the end of the financial year to basically deliver our greenhouse gas inventory to feed into our annual report. So we've got 6 weeks, 40 colleagues around the globe feeding in data. We're reaching out to suppliers. We're accessing data from all our systems under a lot of time pressure. And I was thinking, there must be at least, a less painful way of going about this. And the third is really unique to us as a business. We have the publishing industry is undergoing a fundamental transformation. So probably many of you sitting here today don't get your newspaper in the postbox anymore or at the weekend. You have a digital app for you to access your newspapers, and that's the transformation that we're seeing. So we were really keen to understand exactly what our digital impact looks like and what impact do the products have. And I think it was really a combination of those 3 things that made us feel that Planetly was the right partner to work with.
Great. So Planetly supported you in calculating your carbon footprint for the reporting year 2021 for all your emissions, including the core business and your printing and the production of newspapers and as well the logistics. When you saw the results, I wonder, what was really most surprising for you and what were the insights that you took away from this analysis?
Well, I suppose the headline result really was we had a 49% reduction in our emissions year on year. And, you could say that was just down to COVID. But when you look at the data story, COVID is only part of that. It did have a 31% impact on reducing our carbon emissions. Nobody was traveling, our events weren't taking place, we had a big impact on our supply chain. But I thought was very interesting was, 6%, which was down to methodological changes that we made, so improving our data quality. And about 2 years ago, a consultant said, it takes companies around 3 or 4 years to reach data maturity and have, really strong carbon footprint numbers. And I think some of the changes that we made in consultation with Planetly to the way we were assessing the data, to the methodologies that we're using, made that change. So I think that was the thing that surprised me most. What was very encouraging is that we had 11% reduction based on strategic changes that we were able to make due to COVID, but at an accelerated pace. So we moved print sites from Singapore to Australia, so we were cutting out the flights. It's still working. We cut out free bulks from certain sites. So it made quite a bit of impact and a pivot to digital for some of our products. So I think those were probably the big highlights.
Cool. Very good. Thanks for sharing. So Planetly furthermore supported the Economist Group in setting ambitious reduction targets and as well submitting these to the Science Based Targets initiative, which is quite an extensive process. So I think everyone who went through this knows that. So why have you chosen to make your reduction targets public with a Science Based Targets initiative instead of just setting the target internally for yourself?
Well, I mean, big news. It's kind of fresh off the press on September 16th. The Science Based Targets initiative validated our target, so we're absolutely delighted with that. And that's it's a huge success for us on our sustainability journey. But why did we go for an external target? Well, I mean, internal targets, I think historically they're based on the level of business ambition within an organization, what they're willing to commit to from an economic perspective. But the Science Based Targets initiative, which is really heading towards becoming a gold standard for target setting, is what climate science says that we need to do as organizations, well, what we need to do as a whole to reach the Paris Agreement and limit global warming to 1.5%. So we consulted with senior management, we consulted with our journalists to decide which direction we wanted to take. And we felt it was correct to have a very robust target that was based on the best available climate science and to be transparent and open about that to the external market.
Cool. So you're now committed to cut your emissions by at least 25% by 2025. So now that you have this target out there, how does it feel? And how was it perceived by the team? And is it changing any of the internal dynamics?
Absolutely. I mean, of course, the environmental sustainability team was absolutely over the moon, but our top leadership was as well. And I think that's absolutely key. They're not only bought into our strategy, but they're actually pushing us really hard for more ambition. So there's certainly this sense of excitement throughout the organization that sustainability is part of the way that we're working. And we have this 25% reduction strategy in place now. And now it's about looking to our further ambitions. So, basically crafting a robust net zero target for the future. And I suppose in terms of dynamics, target setting has a huge wealth of benefits, both externally and internally. So externally to your external stakeholders, it's about brand reputation and credibility. But internally, it's about weaving sustainability into the way that we operate as an organization, into our strategy. And, it's employee engagement. It's about looking at product innovation that can improve profitability. So it has, setting a target really has both those benefits on an internal and an external level.
Very happy to hear that. So what actions are you now taking to reach the reduction goal?
So our 25% reduction target, which is based on, as an absolute target, so also based on our scope 3, which are the products and services that we sell and those that we buy, are based on 4 cornerstones. So one is cutting our travel. So we'll return to 65% of our pre-pandemic level travel. We are digital first, so we have pivoted our lifestyle magazine 1843 to a digital only format, and we're pushing more for the economist itself and for the world ahead. We're also looking at energy efficiency, so improving the energy efficiency in our offices, using renewable energy, and where we can't abate, we're using renewable energy certificates. And the fourth is reducing bulks. So bulks are basically free advertiser copies that we have in the market, and it's taking those out of the system essentially and making supply chain improvements. So those are the key things.
Okay, very exciting to follow that, and very excited that the progress will now be tracked in the Planetly Climate Impact Manager and through the dashboards. So let us look a little bit behind the curtain. Who is now responsible for checking the numbers, and how often are you checking the numbers, and how's the progress shared with the team?
Yes, I mean, maybe just a bit about the climate manager, because I think this is where it becomes really interesting. So we've now got this 25% science-based target that we obviously want to achieve. And we've got a leadership team who has the target as part of their KPI. So basically they get a bonus if they achieve it. And if we continue to have an annual 1 greenhouse gas inventory, and you realize after 12 months that you've not made progress, or you've gone back with your progress, it's really hard to turn the tanker around. So what we're doing with the climate manager is we're monitoring it on a quarterly basis. We're feeding our data into the system so that we can review that with our senior leadership on a quarterly basis. And if we need to take action where we see emissions are rising when they shouldn't be, that we can monitor and actually take action to reduce those. So it's a key tool for us in achieving the ambition that we've set ourselves.
Great. Good. So I think the audience by now knows why I'm calling you guys my carbon heroes. And I think it is super inspiring with which diligence you're approaching the whole topic. And thanks for joining us today, and thanks for your support.
Yeah, thank you.
Maybe just stay for a second. Well,
wait, happy
just
because
second.
You were already giving me
exactly.
hand signs. Okay, good.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Well, we all make the experience that a lot of people in the small room, it's getting warm a bit, and some might need some fresh air sooner or later. And we have one keynote left, and I don't, want to cut your time short. But I would like at least give the audience maybe one or two questions, maybe to those who usually ask the questions, one question, and maybe one to Planetly, if there is one. So please. Otherwise, yes, please, gentlemen.
My name is Johannes Gediger from Sphera Solution, and I'm wondering, when you say you switch to digitalization or the economist in digital form, did you make a research on what is the carbon footprint using data center? Because there is, research done that for all that internet structure worldwide, you use probably the same amount or you release the same amount on CO2 as you do with the flights.
So to come back to the point that I was making about why we switched to Planetly, that was the key question that we were asking ourselves, because there's a lot in the press, not just The Economist, about about the impact of digital, and that you need to look at your internal servers, you need to look at external servers, you need to look at the use of the products. And that was where we felt that Planetly had a model in place to measure this. And when we're really clear on how they would go about this, because what we ideally want to have is, these are the emissions of your print copy, these are the emissions of your digital copy, because yes, the digital copy does have an impact, but it's still not the same as print. That is still the better future for the publishing industry. But it's a very good question, and I don't think it's been answered 100%. I think there's a lot of questions about this and whether the complete data is being captured.
All right. Is there one more question? Oh yes. All right.
Hi, I'm working as a consultant on digital sustainability, so this is a really interesting topic to me. And my question goes to Planetly, because you are all about climate neutrality, but have you ever also thought on how to help your clients on integrating the other part of sustainability, so social factors, in your reporting?
Yeah, very good question. So it is true, we're coming from the climate part, so from the E part in ESG, due to urgency, and because this is as well the most complex part when it comes to accounting, really that. But as we see a lot of demand in the market for having actually the whole ESG reporting out of one hand, this is what we're currently building, an additional S and G module, kind of, additionally to the E, because in the end, the climate and has a lot as well to do with climate justice, and is very, very intertwined and connected with the S and as well the G in the organizations. So I think when we fast forward another 5 to 10 years, it will not be the emissions that every company needs to be really diligently tracking, but as well the social and the governance aspects. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Again, a warm applause.
Thank you.